Good morning, this is the Ask a Swim Pro show. I am Ksebati and I am joined by a special guest, Dale Neuburger. We are here at the Pan American Masters Championships in Orlando, Florida. Dale, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, it's great to be here.
All right, thanks for joining the show. So let's get right into it. Can you talk about this event and where we are right now?
Well, this event is the largest Masters event ever held in the Americas, is sponsored by UANA, the Continental Association for the Aquatic Sports. We have 2,500 athletes here in Orlando. It's been a fantastic environment for the athletes, and we're really excited. We've had an event that spans all 5 disciplines and has brought people from throughout the Americas. So it's really been a great experience, I think, for the athletes, but a great experience for our organization to host such a great event.
Can you talk about the organization and maybe the evolution and how it's growing?
Well, UANA is about 70 years old, formed in 1948, and it's one of the 5 continental associations of FINA. We have 42 national federations. We go all the way from the Hudson Bay in Canada to the tip of Argentina and all points in between, landmass, islands, and all countries in between. And we have really tried to focus a lot on development. We have some strong swimming federations, obviously, within the Americas, but we also have some that really need development, both in the English-speaking islands of the Caribbean and in Central and South America. So we have a lot of work to do, but these events are really a great opportunity for us to develop the sport, in this case with Masters, healthy lifestyles too.
That's awesome. And maybe let's rewind back in time. So let's talk about, you have a long career in aquatics and in the sports world. How have you seen the industry change, as your career has progressed?
Well, I think the industry has changed significantly. I was a coach, a lot of years ago, and now when I go on the pool deck, I don't even recognize the equipment on the pool deck, let alone try to coach athletes to swim fast. But I think companies like yours, My Swim Pro, that's doing some really interesting technological advances for swimmers that were never there before, and gives athletes a lot of feedback and a lot of information, which I think then tends to have them want to continue to be in the sport and to develop and hopefully swim faster and longer. So a lot of change in swimming, and I think very much for the positive.
What are some of the highlights, of either events you've been to, or just any moments in the sport, in the aquatic sports? What kind of stands out to you that you'll always remember? It's like, wow, that was really amazing.
Well, I've had the opportunity to be the technical delegate, which is basically the competition director now at 3 Olympic Games in Beijing, London, and Rio, and those stand out as being great moments, great opportunities, because it's really the highlight event, and literally a couple of billion people are interested in the results of something that happened in the pool. So it's a good deal of pressure, but also a great exhilaration that comes with being with athletes at the highest level at their peak moment, and seeing great things. And obviously Beijing with 8 gold medals for Michael Phelps was really the highlight of any swimming moment, I think, for anyone, for me, and for anyone else, frankly.
And so let's talk about that. So in 2008, Michael Phelps does something incredible, and now, has more gold medals and Olympic medals and anything. How do you think that specifically has changed the sport of swimming?
It's changed it remarkably. Right now, swimming is the sport with the most medals in the Olympic program, one more than track and field. So for the first time in our history, more medals on the program. We also have the highest broadcast viewership as measured by the International Olympic Committee, have the highest social media contact as measured by the International Olympic Committee, and all of the elements of support and interest in the sport have just blossomed as a result of what occurred specifically in 2008 at the Beijing Games, because it attracted so much interest, and Michael's performances were so extraordinary.
Yeah, moving into the future, you can't replace any athletes, but there are certainly a few names that pop up that are doing incredible things. Where do you think the future of the sport is headed? A lot of people were concerned that, okay, Michael has retired, now what? Where do you see the future? Are you optimistic?
Well, the great thing is Michael inspired so many other young athletes as he was competing. and it gave, I think, inspiration to a lot of kids. I think one of the biggest differences is that Michael showed that you could swim many different events.
Yep.
You could be very competitive across all 4 strokes, as well as swimming tough doubles. In the past, there was nobody who was ever able to swim 2 gold medal performances in one evening session at Olympic Games. And then, last year we had Caleb Dressel had 3 gold medal performances in one evening session at the World Championships. So it shows how much inspiration, how much motivation he provided for the sport, and I think the sky's the limit.
For sure. And let's bring it back to Masters. So we're here at the Masters Pan Americans. What do you see as the differences and maybe similarities between the age group competitive that you see at the World Championships and the Olympics, and then the Masters scene?
Well, I think it's still a passion for the sport. I think for the elite athletes, whether they're 15 or 25 or 35 for that matter, swimming at an Olympic Games or World Championships, they have a passion for the sport to continue to train and to compete at a high level and all the things that go along with that. But frankly, here at a Masters Championship, as we are here in Orlando, the passion for the sport of individuals who now may be sort of 15 or 25 or 35 now are 65, 75, and 85, and the passion for it and the willingness to train and the willingness to be a part of a group situation going towards goals is still there, and very, very similar in that regard.
Yeah. So you mentioned how Michael is an inspiration, and you see people like Caleb Dressel making marks. How do you think that works in the Masters arena? And you mentioned 40-some countries represented here, and what do you see? Do you think there's that level of inspiration that comes back to the country?
Yeah, I do. I think the visionary for this particular event and being hosted here in Orlando was Rowdy Gaines.
Yep.
And I don't think there's a more popular athlete worldwide than Rowdy. Everywhere he goes, he attracts people who tell him about some intersection in their lives that he had. And so for this Masters group, it's an individual who won 3 gold medals at 1984 Olympic Games. So we're basically 34, 35 years out from that competition.
Yep.
And he's still inspiring athletes and all that goes along with that. So,
so let's move forward to 2020. So this meets every 2 years. So let's give us a preview of what's going to happen in 2020.
Well, I think one of the really good things about our UANA Masters Committee and also the efforts that have gone along with growing Masters is that we already have our site for 2020, which will be Medellin, Colombia. They have begun their work really 3 years ago, so they've been shadowing Mel Goldstein and his committee through a variety of events over the last 3 years, and they're going to be ready. I've visited Medellin twice in the past. It's a great city. It's grown from a very difficult period in its history. It'll be a very vibrant, very exciting, very interesting city. I think people will really enjoy it a lot.
And what's something that you're most excited about, either at this competition or just moving forward in the next few years, that you're most looking forward to?
I think we have with the Olympic Games in 2020
Sure.
and in Tokyo a great opportunity to showcase our sport. But then when you think forward from that, with Paris in 24 and Los Angeles in 2028, it gives our for American coaches and for American athletes this 10-year window to say, what would we really like our sport to be 10 years from now? And let's dream big and figure out what that looks like and have an incredible 10-year span in terms of the growth of our sport.
I'm looking forward to it.
I am too.
That's going to be awesome. Well, Dale, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us on the Ask a Swim Pro show. And you heard it, 10 years from now, 2028, they'll be here in the U.S. But thanks again. We're here in Orlando, Florida at the Pan American Masters Championships. 2,500 athletes competing from over 40 different national governing bodies. That's it for this episode. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye.